welcome to my home. This is a Ford E150 Econoline van. I think it's 2008. So I've lived out of this van for the past 5 years and 6 months or something along those lines. Pretty long while. Now I've really loved this lifestyle of living out of the van because a lot of my year already I go on these really long multi-month 1,000-mile hikes, and then I come back and I live in the van, and it's kind of like that with all the same like benefits and the beauty. So really for me this is like super glamping, where I can work, I can live, I can be happy, and I can spend all my time in just the most beautiful places imaginable. So let's check it out. So before checking out everything inside, just a quick peek at my doors. I keep all of my hats here. I have a lot of hats. And then on this other side I have these nice little bookshelves and kind of things that I made. I have like sketchbooks and some of my drawings just on the bookshelves themselves. I have a hammock, which is just absolutely perfect when in places like these I'm surrounded by these giant oak trees, and having a hammock is just awesome. I have some Tenkara fly fishing rods. This one's my girlfriend's at this point, and then this one's one of mine. You know, living out of the van, a lot of times I'm camped near a lake, camped near a pond, all these beautiful places, and it's cool to just have these at the ready to go, and I can just go fishing basically wherever I'm at. So of course a little tiny broom as well, you know, got to keep everything nice and clean and not be tracking dirt into the bed and whatever, because living outside and then you just go right inside straight into the bed, it can't be doing that. Now the inside, everything in here I built myself. This was, I guess, a work vehicle before I ever got it, and I don't really have any woodworking skills or too many skills working with power tools and anything, so ultimately it wasn't too hard to do. It just took a little bit of thought. I guess my main priority with building it was affordability and not trying to go too nuts, because I think a lot of people get a van and they just want it to be everything that they would have in their normal home, they want in the van. And I knew immediately I wasn't going to have everything. I couldn't have everything. And if I did, I would be sacrificing so many other things in regards to like storage, or, you know, you want one thing, you have to get rid of another thing. There's just not a lot of space in here. So from there, I've lived in it, and then every so often, maybe once a year, I'll come back and I'll add more to it. I really feel that the only way you're truly gonna know what you want and what you need is by going out and actually being in it and living in it. So that's how I went about it. First up, I guess my stove. You know, it's just a little small, I don't know who makes it. It's not Coleman, but it's kind of in that style. And it uses these like green propane canisters. But the stove fits perfectly in this top drawer, so I can easily put it in there for storage and then take it out when I'm ready to cook or make coffee or something like that. Now I also have lights and a small electrical system in here. So these can actually dim all the way down and then get pretty bright. I really like that, you know. If I'm camping somewhere where maybe I'm not really supposed to be, it's nice to keep the lights really low. And then when I'm out here in the middle of nowhere or whatever, I can just turn the lights super high and just have a blast, you know. This fan came with this window in it. The previous owner installed it, and they honestly did kind of a crappy job. If you were to look really closely at it, you would definitely be able to see that. But hey, it's nice. It's actually got like a screen bottom half or whatever, so I can use that for airflow when I'm cooking or when it's hot out like it is today. Then I have all my little utensils, spoons and scissors and cooking things kind of in this pot over here. Toothbrush, toothpaste, got some bananas and whatever else. And yeah, right now I just have my laptop. I have an iPad right here on the top, but typically these go in one of the drawers or whatever. So I did some like crappy wiring job myself. So crappy wiring job, which I put behind the driver's side door. You can't really see it too well, but you know, a cheap inverter and behind these bottles, I call that my emergency water. Just a cheap Marine Life battery from like Walmart that has been going strong for all these years. I mostly only use this to power the lights and to power the fan, but this battery charges off of my car when it is running, and I also have, I think, a 200-watt solar panel on top. So I never really run out of battery, just using the lights and the fan off of this. Now, to work off of, or fun things, I have a small Jackery. And no, this is not sponsored by Jackery. I bought this myself, and actually this is my second one. So I wound up with a Jackery, and I wish I got one of these like immediately, instead of even trying to do like a true electrical setup, because that was not very fun. I didn't do a great job. It hasn't caught fire yet. This has been really great. It's a really simple solution. It's light, it's portable. I can take it outside to work. I can work with it in here. I can do all sorts of things with this. And I do have another solar panel which I use to charge this off of. Or it's small enough, I can take it into a library. I can take it to a public park and I can just plug it in. But anyway, the Jackery's been awesome. I'd love to get a bigger one at some point, but yeah, not right now. Don't really have it in the funds. I do like this thing. Now, while we're here, let's take a look at some of my drawers. Top middle, I have like toiletries and, you know, I guess medical stuff. So yeah, toiletries. And then down here, I have some random like spices and stuff like that. Some salt. And I also have some games in there. Trails is definitely a favorite. I really like that. Maybe because I'm a hiker myself. Then the drawers over here, this is all like cooking stuff. Hot sauce and soy sauce. And then as you'll notice in here, I don't have a fridge. You see, a fridge would mean that I would need a more robust electrical system. I would need, you know, to have it all the time powering that fridge and keeping things cool. And kind of over the years, I just found that I just didn't really need it. So in general, I just don't buy things that are gonna go bad without the fridge. And I've never really struggled with that. So this is my like big food drawer, you know, with snacks. I got some dates. I got some Tim Hortons coffee. Shout out Canada, we love you. Olive oil and maybe a canned soup. I have some grains and some rice in the back. Onions, vegetables, stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm going to eat that stuff in 2 days or 3 days and it's gonna be fine. So then bottom drawer, it's a lot more of the actual cooking utensils. So my pan for stir frying, I have a couple bowls. A titanium pot with another pepper hiding in it. Yeah. So final drawers, you see all my drawers have these little like hooks and things. I feel like that's the poor man's solution to having drawers that like lock in place or whatever. So, you know, I got drawers near the bed are gonna be stuff that I use a lot more often. So I have a nice yo-yo, of course. Got another camera. More yo-yos, little Bluetooth headphones. You know, some of these other drawers recently cleaned out. I don't really have too much in, so an external hard drive. If you ever do rob me, please, 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 please do not steal this. That is what I really need to work. This one, I keep all my like socks. And at the very bottom, I keep kind of like art supplies, and I've always loved painting and drawing, and as you'll see around this van, a lot of these things in the van are my own. So again, it's nice just living in such beautiful places all the time where I can just sit and draw and paint literally whatever is outside of my front door. So while we're down here, let's take a quick look at where I store the Jackery and stuff, as I think it makes a good point. With the van, 60 square feet, you know, your space is so unbelievably limited, so you really have to get creative with how you store things and where you store things and making use of every possible space. So down here behind the Jackery is no different. Since I'm always like camping and outside and stuff, I like having frisbees and, you know, playing with friends, playing with my girlfriend, just throwing them around. Really, really wonderful. I have a nice photo book. A few years ago I bought this little Polaroid camera, so I enjoyed it so much that I got a little photo album for it. So some of these are from like Utah. The Polaroid doesn't take like the greatest photos ever, but a lot of them come out really great. So I love the little Polaroid camera, and I've really enjoyed having this little photo book. Extra food, oatmeal and such. Just, you know, stuff that I'm not using every single day or looking at every single day kind of hides back behind the Jackery. Now, up in the cockpit, one of my favorite things about the van is the seat. The passenger seat spins around, which, you know, it's a small space, and I feel like this really makes it feel like it's twice the size. Sit here and I work, you know, my girlfriend can be on the bed or a friend on the bed or vice versa, and it's absolutely wonderful. I use this 7-gallon jug for water. Whenever I need water, I just tip it over, dump it into my bottle, dump it into my pot for making coffee, whatever. You know, of course, I have many Nalgene's scattered all around the van because always got to stay hydrated. Nice little backup camera. It's a ginormous van. Gotta have the backup camera for just extra information when I'm coming in or out of tight parking spots. All right, the bed. This is where I sleep. You know, this is a lot of times where I hang out. On some little hooks, I have a little headlamp. I have a little tiny thermometer up there. It says 87 degrees and 37% humidity. That's pretty good for Florida. Yeah, and then I have some backpacks hanging from the loops here. This one I kind of use for like day hikes and I guess just going to the park, little outings, fun things. My friend made this backpack. And then the JanSport is work backpack. A lot of the time, I work out of libraries. So I just have a backpack at the ready with some work stuff in it. Yeah, just my clothes up along the ceiling. I have a little kiwi that I got when I was traveling to New Zealand. But yeah, all my shirts and shorts and stuff like that. A lot of my girlfriend's clothes, dresses, and things like that. And then in the very back one, I have like rain jackets and fleeces and kind of warmer clothes, which now that it's summer aren't really gonna be too necessary. Then on the wall, just stuff that I've kind of collected over the years. Little like patches and things from different trails that I've done. Various pictures from all the other places that I've been and such. So lots of little magnets and, you know, paintings that I've done and just memorabilia from different trails. Photos from places I've been, postcards from friends. This is typically where I keep like dirty laundry, just some, like a 3-fold bin. Dirty laundry, sometimes girlfriend keeps some clothes in the middle one, and then I think she has some other stuff in the third one. But yeah, that kind of fits perfectly right under the bed, kind of laundry bin. And then like in all of these little nooks and crannies, I have extra stuff stored. So right now I have like climbing chalk bags, I have climbing shoes and stuff like that. Every tiny little space, you really want to have stuff in it, you know, no dead space. So yeah, that's kind of my philosophy. Okay, now to the back, you know, the garage, where the real magic happens. Pretty much the entirety of underneath my bed is backpacking gear. These are quilts, sleeping bags for backpacking. I have like 3-4 different pairs of hiking shoes underneath here. And then this giant bin is all hiking gear. And then a solar panel for charging my Jackery. Some other miscellaneous stuff, but mostly backpacking gear. So, you know, a small little pouch with tent stakes and food bags and stuff sacks and blister tape and probably other tiny backpacking gear. You know, I have sun hats in here, I have day pack, I have multiple like titanium cook pots. Just every little piece of backpacking gear you could ever need for any season lives in this bin, and thus it lives under the bed. So the Jackery solar panel, you know, gotta power that little Jackery somehow, and you know, sometimes I'll charge it up at a library, sometimes I'll charge it up at a friend's house, at a local park where I can find an outlet. But, you know, most of the time I use the solar panel. It doesn't take too long to charge that thing up with this, and the solar panel fits pretty conveniently right underneath, or right on top of the backpacking gear. So I don't know if I mentioned, but I didn't insulate this. There's no insulating, because insulation is so expensive. And it's an annoying process, and I kind of thought, I just want to be like the bird. So when it's cold, I head south, and when it's hot, I head north. Winters in Arizona and Southern California or Florida, and then summers anywhere I want. So anyway, thanks for checking out my van with me. It's been good. I hope you enjoyed the little tour. You don't have to have something super expensive or super fancy to be happy. Well, some people do. Probably most people. But I haven't. And maybe you won't either. I'm just hanging out. I was just drinking coffee. Now this turkey's been hanging out with me for like 30 minutes. Just doing that.